I used to paint representationally for years, and just a couple years ago I shifted into painting abstracts. So today I want to share with you my top 5 reasons why I love abstract art and why I love painting abstract art. But before we dive into it, hi, my name is Esther Franchuk. I'm an abstract painter and artist, traveler, creative, and I make videos about everything around my art studio, tips for artists and collectors, and so much more. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you will not miss any of the new videos. There's just so many misconceptions about abstract art. Some people think it's super complex and difficult to paint. Some think it's immature and a 5-year-old can make it or anyone can make it, and it's really not that good. I used to have many of the same misconceptions, and I used to paint representationally for that very reason. But then I changed my mind and I started painting abstracts myself. So today I want to share with you my top 5 reasons of why I love abstract art. So why did I change my mind in the first place and why I started painting abstracts? About 2 years ago we moved back to Ukraine, and life, needless to say, felt very uncertain. I didn't know where we were going, what's going to happen, just so many unknowns, and I find myself in a place where I just couldn't paint representation. I just didn't have inspiration for anything. I didn't know how to put myself together, but I wanted to paint, and we rented a studio and I was like, I have to paint. And I found myself leaning towards abstract art as a way to wrestle with this unknown, and I just started experimenting, and I didn't have any picture or plan in mind. I just went with my initial gut feeling and I started painting something just to paint. Since then, I just found so much more freedom in my creative process, and I really felt like I was finding my voice as I started painting abstracts. So my first reason for loving abstract art is the freedom to start without knowing where it's going. That was exactly why I was drawn to abstract art in the first place, because I'm an overthinker and I really love having a plan and structure and just plan my paintings ahead of time, plan everything from the color and size to the exact details in the end. So it's a really complicated process, and this is how I always worked. But I never felt like a true artist, so to say. I never felt like I'm really to the max enjoying the process when I'm in the studio. And a lot of it was just drudgery in some way, because I didn't have this freedom. I didn't just approach the canvas with full freedom and just not knowing where it's gonna end up. And I always felt like this is what real artists do. They just have this, they're pulling something from the depth of their soul, from the depth of their heart. They're not constructing the painting. I mean, for each their own. There's so many different processes, and there is no right way or wrong way to go about art, but I just felt like I really want to have that freedom in order to enjoy what I'm doing, because I love art and I love painting. I just need this freedom to not know to the max, to the very end, all of the steps. I just really needed it. So abstract art, and why I love it, is because I have this freedom. I finally have this freedom. You can have idea in mind, you can go from initial inspiration, and even more a good abstract art, it has composition as a structure, it has a base. It could start in so many different ways. It also built on rules and elements of art. It's all in there, but how exactly to go about each painting, you just never know. You can start with something, but then it becomes something else, and then it just results in a completely different way that you initially thought. So I believe it's one of the most exciting things about abstract and about the process. And this kind of bridges into reason number 2, which is layering, how old decisions show through the new ones. I believe good abstract art is a multi-layered art. It's not just painted fences, not just one color and everything flat. It's layers and layers of work, and it's really alongside with not knowing where you're going. You just build on top of each layer, and you add color and depth, you add new marks, then you get rid of some other marks. And it finally made sense to me that I'm not just covering stuff up, because with representational art, if I just made a mistake, or when you have a plan, you can change things slightly, but it's not the same. You're really building layers, but it's really predictable. With abstract art, you can basically paint another painting over another painting. It's you're changing directions. You are really flowing in this river. You're seeing where the painting takes you, and you adding new things, then you're taking things away. it's really just way more interactive, I would say. It's like a conversation with a piece, with a painting. You're really seeing what you want to pull in, what you want to fade, what you want to completely disregard, and it's just a really exciting process of finding those different elements and building up kind of layers into these puzzle pieces. And then in the end of it all of these decisions that you might thought that you just like cover them up or you get rid of stuff, they're still showing as a texture, and they add depth to the piece even without like you intending to do it from the beginning. My number 3 reason why I love abstract art is because every piece holds emotion and not explanation. When I used to paint representationally, I just struggled so much explaining my art. I didn't know how much should I talk about it, how much should I talk about personal meaning. And if I say like, okay, I'm painting horses because they symbolize this and this for me, and there is also a general symbolism for horses, I just always felt it's too much pressure to dance on this line in between, like how much of the personal story can I even actually share and how much of the general symbolism those objects or imagery already holding. So I had a hard time to like put in descriptions and names and just being too strong in order to, especially selling the piece, because every painting is supposed to speak to a collector. It has to go to someone's home, and then it's really hard to live with a piece that you personally don't resonate with or that holds a strong meaning. It's still meant for someone and it's gonna find its home in a lot of cases, but it's just really hard to appeal to a wider audience, so to say. And what I love about abstract art, that it's really emotional, and it's like this emotional response to the color, to the movement, to the dynamic of the painting, and it could mean so many different things for so many different people. And for myself, like I start with some initial inspiration and maybe I have like some emotion attached to it or like what I'm going through currently, but then when I look at it after some time, I have just a completely different understanding of like things that it's speaking to me and what it means. So I feel like also what I heard from the collectors, that it just evoked a specific emotion and they felt certain things, and then it reminded them of their own life and their stories and their experiences or some memories that's associated with the memories. So I feel like it's just so unique in the way of how it speaks that you don't have to put an explanation to it. Like you can feel in a certain way about the painting, you can name it in a certain way, but in the end it's just purely about emotional response and this conversation in between the painting and the collector. Another reason for what I really love abstract art is how composition becomes intuitive over time. I feel like abstract art is just a perfect example of how you have the structure and composition as a very backbone of a painting, but then you have so much intuition and emotion in the piece. So in the process of working on an abstract painting, you using structure, you're using composition, but then you really let the painting tell what it wants to be, and you navigate through this river of possibilities, and like anything could happen. So it's kind of learning how to dance and how to make step back, step forward, and really find this grit, to find those anchors in the painting that will hold it together, because it's not just like putting an animal, putting a person in a certain way according to some rules, but you have to create emotional response with a structure, and you have to combine those two together in a sophisticated and beautiful way. So I feel like just working with abstract teaches you a lot of how to navigate this very balance and how to really build with emotion and structure, and how to capture this flow of raw inspiration while still keeping it really professional. So basically, the more you exercise working in abstract, the more you are able to create really strong, good compositions, because you are not working with imagery, you're not like trying to make sense, and your analytical brain doesn't go into like this has to be here and this has to be around it because it makes sense. Like you are not overthinking the composition, you're not overthinking the placement of the objects. You are really over time learning to intuitively work because you're working with color, with shape, with line, with just pure elements of art instead of like representing something. So it makes a way for you to build stronger compositions and really work intuitively while applying structure and working professionally, because you just work with elements of art solely and not imagery. And my very favorite reason of why I love abstract art is a collector's response. When people say it feels like something they have lived but couldn't even put into words. This is just such a wonderful experience to have as an artist, where you hear a feedback. For example, I had this painting called Dwelling Place, and collector who ended up buying the piece, she had to move to a smaller home because her husband passed away, and she really struggled to feel in her new home like it's a place where she can rest, that it's a dwelling place. And that piece and that caption spoke to her in such a beautiful way, and she shared with me the story, and I was just so emotional about it, because it's just so amazing to hear how certain paintings they meant for certain people, and it's their stories that they have lived, and then it resonates with them on such deep personal emotional level, and it's just so beautiful and amazing thing about abstract art and how it connects. And this is just such a unique aspect of abstract art, that it's so open for interpretation. People are able to see their own stories in it, even though it has maybe your story and some of your thoughts that you put into that, but then it could be really anything, and it speaks so beautifully and so uniquely to each viewer. So all in all, I never seen myself up to 2 years ago painting abstract art, loving it, enjoying it, having so much to say about it, but now I do, and it's completely changed my art and my practice and how I see art in general and life in general. It's just so much more rich and beautiful, and I really felt like I found my true voice in it. So if you like abstract art and you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I share so much more of my thoughts on abstract art and on art in general, and I share my process, studio updates, what I'm up to, inspiration behind my painting, tips for artists and collectors, and so much more. And I would also like to hear what you have to say about abstract art, what you like or maybe don't like about it. Please let me know in the comment section down below. I always love reading all of your guys' responses. It really helps me to improve this channel and make videos that are interesting and exciting to watch. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.